As a new or experienced stock market investor, you've probably heard about diversification, which allows you to lower your risk. One way to diversify is through investing in companies that are in different market sectors. This video is all about that. We'll review the 11 different market sectors that exist, analyze their one-year performance, assess their fundamentals by looking at dividend yields, which would be of great interest to dividend investors, as well as return on investment, earnings per share, and return on equity, which would be of interest to growth investors. We'll also provide examples of companies for each sector so you can better relate to them. All right, so let's get into it. Here's an overview of the 11 market sectors. This includes communication services, consumer discretionary, consumer staples, energy, financials, healthcare, industrials, information technology, materials, real estate, and utilities. As you'd notice, the size of each market varies, with utilities currently having the lowest market capitalization of just $1.68 trillion, and information technology with the largest market cap of over $16.95 trillion. The best one-year stock market performance belongs to the energy sector, with an impressive 47.81% growth in 1 year, which knocks the performance of the S&P 500 out of the park. The worst performing sector is utilities, with a 14.40% performance. Overall, all sectors are showing a positive return roughly by the end of 2021, making the year as a wonderful year for the stock market investors. The S&P 500 return for the year has been almost at 28%. This is just a remarkable sign, especially for investors who prefer to invest passively in the overall stock market through exchange traded fund investing, knowing that with the S&P 500, you would have received a 28% plus return for the year. All right, let's get into our sectors analysis. The first sector to look at is communication services. Here, you'll notice the sector has a market weight of 10.3%. And among the companies to look at and identify includes companies such as Disney, Spotify, Twitter, Roku, Netflix, and Facebook. The price to earnings ratio here for communication services for this year's estimate is at 20.86. The price to earnings ratio is a comparison of a company's current share price to its earnings per share during a specified time period. The higher the price to earnings ratio, the more the market is willing to pay for each dollar of annual earnings, suggesting that the stock or the sector is a little bit pricier than other sectors. Looking at the earnings per share for trailing 12 months for communication services, here we have $35.56 for EPS. And lastly, in terms of the dividend yield, you'd notice a dividend yield of 4.10%. Among other financial metrics on the screen, you'd notice a return on equity, return on investment, and the revenue growth. Next, let's take a look at consumer discretionary sector. Here, the market weight is at 12.6%, and among top companies in this field include companies such as Expedia, Tesla, Carnival Cruise Lines, Home Depot, Amazon, EVgo, MGM Resorts International, to just name a few. In terms of price to earnings ratio, we are seeing a 28.64 ratio for consumer discretionary. Earnings per share is at $15.38, and the dividend yield for this sector is only at 1.5%. You'd also notice a remarkable return on equity of 84.92% for consumer discretionary sector. Before we move on, I wanted to ask for a big favor. I've put a lot of time and effort to research and prepare this video. All I ask in return is to please take a second to like this video, and it would really mean a lot to me if you actually subscribe to the channel for more investing and stock market related videos. Thank you. Next, we are going to take a look at consumer staples sector with a price to earnings ratio of 27.08. The earnings per share here is at $4.57, and among companies active in this field include Pepsi, Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, and Campbell's, to name a few. The dividend yield here is at 2.55%, and the market weight for consumer staples is at 5.8% of the overall market. Next, we have energy sector, which in fact had the remarkable return. The market weight here is only at 2.8% of the overall market size. Among companies in the energy sector includes Shell, Chevron, and ExxonMobil. The earnings per share here is at 2.06 for the trailing 12 months, and the price to earnings ratio for this year's estimate is at 12.67. The dividend yield is a remarkable 4.97, close to 5% dividend yield for energy sector. Next, we are going to take a look at financial sector, which is the fifth sector to review, with a price to earnings ratio of 11.16. The market weight for financial sector is at 10.7%. And among companies in this field, we can name Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, and Morgan Stanley, just to name a few. The dividend yield for the financial sector is at 2.67%, and the earnings per share at $11.35. You'd also notice the return on equity for the trailing 12 months for financial sector being at 19.72%. I also want to flag and bring to your attention the revenue growth for the trailing 12 months versus the prior trailing 12 months. In fact, roughly about the 1 year performance compared to the similar time period in the past is showing a growth of 18.15%. Next, we're going to take a look at healthcare sector with a price to earnings estimate of 31.01, with the market weight for the sector being at 13.2%. Some of the companies in the healthcare sector include Amgen, Pfizer, Biogen, Bristol Myers, and Moderna. The return on equity for healthcare sector is at a negative 34.89%, and the dividend yield is at 1.99%. The earnings per share for trading 12 months is showing to be at $6.83. Lastly, if you look at the revenue growth for trading 12 months versus prior trading 12 months, you see a massive growth of 218% plus for healthcare sector. Next, let's take a look at industries sector with the price to earnings ratio estimate of 27.25 and earnings per share of $5.51. Among the companies include Boeing, Caterpillar, United Airlines, Southwest Airlines, and Delta Airlines. The dividend yield for this sector is at 1.67%, and the market weight is at 7.7%. Next, we are going to take a look at information technology, which has the largest market weight with 29.3%. The price to earnings ratio estimate for information technology is at 37.07, and the earnings per share is at $5.52. The dividend yield is the lowest among the sectors, and it's only at 0.93%. Among the companies in the information technology, we can name a few such as Salesforce, PayPal, Microsoft, and Adobe. Next, we're going to take a look at materials sector with the price to earnings ratio estimate of 9.53. The market weight for materials sector is at 2.5%, and some companies examples include Sherwin-Williams, Nucor, and US Steel. The dividend yield is at 3.88%, and the earnings per share is showing to be at $4.96. Next, we're going to take a look at real estate. Some of the companies in this sector include Zillow, Realty Income, American Tower, and American Realty Investors. The dividend yield here is at 2.63%, and the earnings per share for trading 12 months is at $2.88. The price to earnings estimate for real estate sector is at 35.18. And if you look at the earnings per share growth for the trading 12 months versus prior trading 12 months, it's showing an upside actually growth of 46.38% in comparison. Lastly, if you look at utilities sector, we are noticing a price to earnings ratio estimate of 20.93 and the market weight for the sector to be at 2.5%. Some of the companies in this sector include Fortis, American Water, NextEra Energy, NRG, and Duke Energy. The dividend yield here is at 3.51%, and the earnings per share trading 12 months is at $2.26. The return on equity trading 12 months, you notice to be at 8.98%. Before we wrap up this video, we want to provide some of the key observations we've had. The sector with the highest average dividend yield is currently energy with a 4.97% dividend. The sector with highest return on equity for trading 12 months is consumer discretionary with a remarkable 84.92%. Return on equity is considered a measure of how effectively management is using a company's assets to create profits. Moving on, the best one-year performing sector is energy with 47.81% return. And the largest sector in market capitalization is information technology with a gigantic $16.95 trillion in market capitalization size. I hope you found this video beneficial and you gained something of value from it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit from this video as well. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel here on Moementum Finance and Stock Investing. We post every week several videos about investing, whether it's investing in the stock market, real estate, or cryptocurrencies, as well as ways to reach financial freedom. Lastly, let us know which stock market sector is your favorite one. We'd love to hear from you, so be sure to leave us a comment down below and let us know about that. Thank you, and we hope to see you next time.